a leader. It's a fact. Most business owners forget how much their team actually impacts the valuation of their business as they prepare to sell it. Whether you're considering this move in the next few years or it's much further out into the future, the structure and the people who make up your team can significantly impact how your business will be positioned for sale. So let's chat about what factors will drive up your sale price. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. Thanks for tuning in and following your curiosity to learn and honor your personal conviction to be the best leader you can be. On this podcast, you won't hear a bunch of theories presented by academics who haven't been in a workplace in years or ever, and you'll not hear from executives who are flush with capital, people, and pool tables in their cafeteria telling you how to build team culture. Nope. Why? Because you are a small business owner and you've built something great out of nothing. And through it all, you've learned that you need a team, but not just any team. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've led winning teams in retail, innovative technical teams at a Fortune 50 corporation for decades, not-for-profit boards, and in online business, and helped many remote teams win at work. And I can tell you that no one escapes team troubles, including me. These days, I'm the CEO of Stacking Your Team, where I teach and develop tools for small business owners so they can attract, retain, and develop their teams so the founder can step out of her day-to-day operation. I'm so happy you're here because we all know that the people side of running your business is often the most difficult, and the team that got you here may not be the team that gets you there. So come on, let's jump in to today's episode. It's now much more common for people to take the leap into entrepreneurship, and there is a sector of the population that would rather lower the risk of making this significant career change by purchasing an existing business with proven results. They may even have an eye on your small business, and they might be your perfect buyer. Now that we're all out of the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, many small businesses have recovered and got back in line with their profit goals. I'm sure you've also seen many small businesses close up because it simply was too much for them to bear, and the payback plans for the loans and the subsidies that were provided by the government are due or overdue, and for some establishments, it's been crushing. Having said that, people who want to step into entrepreneurship will look to buy an existing business because they see a vision of how they could take it to the next level. So here are the top 3 choices in today's market for someone who's looking to purchase a turnkey business. The number 1 choice is restaurants and food service establishments. So this category includes cafes, fast food outlets, fine dining restaurants, food trucks, and catering businesses. The second top choice are retail stores. So businesses that are selling products like clothing, electronics, home goods, and specialty items are often sought after. Now, e-commerce shops or brick-and-mortar stores with an e-commerce presence are even more popular. And the third top choice for buying a turnkey business are service-based businesses. Now, this includes businesses such as hair salons, spas, fitness centers, cleaning services, landscaping companies, and consulting firms, including firms and agencies that are online rather than having an actual walk-in office space. Are you surprised by those top 3 choices? I was surprised to learn that the food industry establishments were the number 1 choice, because in my local area, they were hit hard. Sure, many had a boost in revenue during the pandemic because most families quickly became tired of cooking 3 meals a day for their family and were looking for quality takeout options. Food delivery services such as Skip the Dishes and DoorDash definitely help serve more people, but the business owner often had to pay significantly more to be available on those apps. Now, valuing a business is often complex and requires the expertise of professionals such as business brokers, appraisers, and financial advisors, and of course, attorneys. These professionals use various valuation methods to determine a fair and reasonable price for the sale of the business. And I think we can all agree that the second top choice, those brick-and-mortar shops, are always interesting to that certain buyer who wants to have a local impact and who loves the retail experience. So those shops who are able to flip quickly to some sort of e-commerce offer, helping to keep them afloat and relevant during the pandemic, are in a much better position than those who didn't, and those who were struggling to get staffing. Now, it's also a fact that Amazon definitely was the giant go-to option for most people, but for those of us who enjoy shopping local and supporting local business owners, we maintained those relationships with shop owners who packaged up items and delivered them, or had a pickup process readily available for their customers. It's been great to see local shop owners recover and maintain their e-commerce services as an alternative way for people to shop from home. And that third top choice for buyers being those service-based businesses that solve a problem through specific expertise are always hot, especially those that have a long-standing reputation and a large client and customer base. So when you're considering getting ready to put your business on the market, or if you're simply wanting to get ahead of all this really early, here are some factors that go into determining your price point. Now, it's also worth noting that there's always going to be two types of buyers. The first one is that seasoned professional who has a team of people to help them decide whether to buy or not. And typically, that person would also have industry know-how, meaning they could walk into the new owner role and support the business, at least to maintain it or move it to the next level of success. The other buyer type is that person who is passionate about the niche, the customer base, or the service and products that you sell, but they have little to zero experience actually working or leading a business. But both buyers want an easy buying experience and continued success for whatever business they buy. And both buyers want this to be a great decision for them. So what are buyers looking for to help reassure them that buying your business is their next best move? What should your advisors be coaching you through to position yourself really well for a great sales price? Well, here are 7 key result areas that you and the buyer will be looking deeply into to determine the value of your small business. And let's look to see where your team fits into all of this. The first valuation point is a big one: financial performance. Buyers and their advisors will typically analyze financial statements, tax returns, and other relevant documents to assess the business's financial health. The next one is growth potential. Now, here's where having a clear competitive advantage and proof of scalability will impact your price point. It's worth noting that businesses with strong growth prospects are able to command higher prices. The third one is industry and market conditions. Now, this one is all about consumer demand. Is there demand or not? And is it on the rise or the decline? The answers to those questions will influence the attractiveness of your business to potential buyers. The next one are assets and liabilities. Yes, you guessed it. It's here where all the nooks and crannies will be peered into, including inventory, equipment, intellectual property, customer contracts, and of course, your goodwill history. They also will assess any liabilities, such as debt obligations, or pending lawsuits, and of course, your taxes. And then we've got customer base and relationships. This one is super important because we know the importance of having a diversified customer base, those reoccurring revenue streams, and long-term customer relationships. Businesses that have a strong track record of these will have a higher valuation. And here's my favorite one. It's a doozy. Operational factors. It's the efficiency and the effectiveness of the business operations, including processes, systems, leadership team or not, and your team members' capabilities. It's a fact, businesses with well-documented processes, streamlined operations, and experienced team leadership are way more attractive to any buyer. Here's another one. Location and facilities for brick-and-mortar businesses. Your price point will be dependent on things such as accessibility and visibility to your property, lease terms, and the actual condition of your premises. And the last one is something you might not always think about. It's the seller's motivation and her terms of sale. So how ready are you to sell? How easy are you going to make it for the buyer to say yes to your terms? How ready are you to negotiate? Your answers will influence the sales process and your final sales price. Now that you've heard those 7 key result areas that you and the buyer will be looking deeply into to determine the value of your small business, let's look at where your team fits in. Yeah, it was those operational factors, and rightly so. Now remember, you've got those 2 types of buyers. The buyer who is experienced in running a business and may also be familiar with your niche and is wanting to build out their portfolio. The other buyer is that person who is super passionate about what you've built. They want it, and they might not have any relevant experience to grow it. But both buyer types will be eager to see how much stability and predictability will come with the purchase. So just as important as demand and customer base, they'll be wanting to see proof, preferably long-standing proof, that your operations are clean, efficient, and your team is capable and committed. They'll also be looking to see if you have built-in processes to ensure that you can find, keep, and grow your team members. Now, you and I know that team turnover is hard. Not just a hardship for you, it's a known hardship a buyer will want to avoid too. If you have demonstrated success with your team members who stay with you, grow from part-time to full-time, have weathered the upheaval of maternity leaves, and if you can show that you've promoted people into leadership roles and they've impacted the business, your price point will definitely be higher because you've got people in place to guide that new owner into the future. And hey, what about this? It's not uncommon for the buyer to be an actual team member. This happens a lot, and it's such a blessing because the owner feels so great about handing over the business to such a respected and trustworthy person. On the flip side, if it's not a team member who's going to purchase your business, it's definitely a confidence booster for the new buyer to know that a highly competent leadership team is in place to maintain the business, especially if the new buyer will not have any big face-to-face presence in the actual business. Maybe they will be a remote CEO, or maybe they'll split their time between this new business and their other businesses that they own. All the more reason why purchasing an existing business that complements their portfolio and that comes with a solid track record of results backed up with a solid leadership team to maintain those results adds to the end price point in your favor. To wrap up today's episode, let me leave you with this to ponder on. Will your team add or detract from the value placed upon by an advisor to your business as you position it for sale? If you believe it's not at the value point you'd like it to be, here's your chance to seriously consider what you could do differently that will have long-term impact while also significantly impacting your current outcomes. So whether you have a brick and mortar or an online business, now is a great time to think about the future while also reaping in the benefits of these strategic moves that you make today. Leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.